Sure. When I was 12 years old, I fell off my bicycle on the way home from school and ruptured my spleen. And then, in the subsequent surgery to remove my spleen, I had two blood transfusions, and one or both of them turned out to be contaminated with Hep C. I lived a normal life from that point up until I was around 40 years old, and then things started to deteriorate a little bit on me, and I had treatment for Hep C a couple of times over the next few years, both of which were unsuccessful. And then, subsequent to that, I had a few surgeries specific to my liver to just kind of maintain the quality of life that I had at the time. And then in 2016, I was treated a third time for Hep C, and I was listed as cured in February of 2017. And then a month later, I got a call from the doctor telling me that at this point I had liver cancer, which is, natural progression from liver failure. So I was treated, at that point, I was treated twice for liver cancer over the next couple of years. And I was scheduled for another treatment for liver cancer when I got the call for a transplant. Transplant, is about the largest and most complex surgery, anyone could have with the highest possible extremes as far as risk reward goes. So, that made me pretty anxious about, what was coming. So I spent a lot of time trying to understand all the details around a liver transplant so I could, best be prepared for, what was ahead of me. So I read a lot of medical abstracts and, I would come prepared to appointments armed with the questions coming out of those medical abstracts. And, I think the actual approval process itself took about 6 months. And, they certainly put you through your paces, right? You're poked and prodded in every way you possibly think of, and 100 different ways I had no idea even existed, just to make sure that you can tolerate the process, right? Even to the point where you had to go through a psych evaluation as well, just to make sure that you could mentally stand what was, coming your way. So at that point, once you're on the list, then it's just a matter of waiting for the phone to ring. And in my case, that was November 19th of 2019. And I've got to say, as soon as that phone rings, you're instantly in sensory overload. You're really kind of operating in shock from that point on. Especially when you get to the hospital, there's so much going on. There's so many people telling you what's going to happen to you. You're carted from one room to another. You're really overwhelmed, I have to say. But, having said that, the staff there, they're very aware of the state that you're in when you get there, and they do their best to make you as comfortable as possible while you're going through the process. And given the research that I had done, I certainly went in knowing that Toronto General was one of the best hospitals in the world to do transplants. And I've got to say, having gone through the process at that hospital, it certainly is. That place operates like a well-oiled machine, right from evaluation and preparation, through the time that you show up at the hospital, right through your surgery and your recovery. It's a well-oiled machine, right? And everybody there is extremely professional. They know exactly what they're doing. And, from my perspective, from somebody that's going through it, you simply just have to have trust and faith in the process and, ride the wave, right? And frankly, I couldn't have been in better hands. Sure, I would say the largest difference from my perspective is, my outlook. Prior to my transplant, I was really living in terms of, weeks or months, right? I couldn't think about things from a long-term perspective, 5 or 10 years. Where am I going to be? Am I prepared for retirement? Am I going to put a new roof on? Am I going to finish the basement? Thoughts like that were really a luxury. I really thought of just the next couple of months, frankly, is where I thought. And now that, I have a new life thanks to my donor, I've got the privilege to, think about whether I'm prepared for a retirement, or, you know, when am I going to get the basement done? Those kinds of things. And it really makes you appreciate that, that those kinds of thoughts are a luxury, frankly. So I would say that that's the primary difference coming out of a transplant. Second to that, as things degraded from my health perspective over time, I didn't have the opportunity to do the things that I used to do. So I used to keep in pretty good shape. Well, I still do, but now that I've been given a new liver, I've got the opportunity to do the weight training and cardio and stuff that I used to enjoy prior to, my health deteriorating. So I appreciate that difference as well. And, I would say, lastly, I've been given a second life. I really, feel that way. And, I spend a lot of time at this point thinking about, what am I going to do with the time that I've been given? Yeah, the gift I've been given, has made me more grateful than I can ever express, and as a result of that, I feel an extreme sense of obligation to give back. So with that, I've started to work with the Transplant Advocacy Association here in the Kingston, Quinte areas, and which help mentor folks through the transplant process, and also bring awareness to the need for organ donation. Right now in Canada, I think there's about 35% of eligible donors have actually signed up, and annually between 350 and 400 folks die waiting on the list. And given the fact that we're talking about 35% of eligible donors sign up, I really don't see any reason for anybody to die on the transplant list. So I know that we would appreciate anything you can do to help TAA, through volunteering with us, or becoming a member, or through donations, whatever you can do to help us and ensure that we've got the resources that we need to, help those folks that are going through the transplant process and raise awareness so we can, save lives. I know it sounds like a cliche, but I have truly been given the gift of life. And I ask everyone, if you haven't already, please, take the time to register as a donor at beadonor.ca. It's really an opportunity to turn tragedy into triumph.